Hey everyone, my name is Ramneet, and this week we are back with Chapter 6 of Your Mind is Your Home by Cameron Beatty. And in Chapter 6, the title is Action Leads to Results, and the blurb here underneath the chapter is each day you will find that you either heal the things that need healing in your life or you allow them to continue as they are. So this chapter was kind of more insightful in the sense that it really allows you to be more action oriented towards taking that step and changing your life, taking that step to control your thoughts and really have some sense of control rather than feeling like you are overwhelmed and there's nothing that you can do. So the first subchapter of this chapter is called Questions for Reflection. So he says, can you recall a time where you continuously drove around a roundabout for hours on end, choosing to stay stuck, going around in circles? Perhaps you let your washing machine at home leak out water and just stood and watched it happen. I bet you've had that specific time where you cut yourself and instead of applying a plaster to the blood, you just let it run freely. No panic, no concern, you just hoped for the best. I'm guessing that none of this has happened in your life and that you would have acted on all of these to fix, to care for, and to heal all that you could possibly control in your life. So, what about the state of your mind? Have you let your problems dominate the screen within, or have you taken action to make things easier or better for yourself? So, just just being able to reflect on that, I think taking a moment to realize that Cameron is absolutely right. When physical things are happening around us, we jump, we react. We think that to respond to things happening in our everyday life physically is important, otherwise things get worse. Similar to what he was saying with the washing machine and the water running, would we allow that to happen? No, because we know that the house can be flooded and we would do anything to try to prevent that. So I guess what he is going on this path about is, when you start to notice that you're spiraling, and we were going back to the self awareness we talked in the beginning of chapter 1 and 2. So when you can see that you are spiraling, what do you do? Do you sit there and let it overwhelm you and then let the anxious thoughts take control? Or do you come up with a strategy? Or do you plan that, you know what, I have to stop. I have to maybe put that in the back burner, or I have to give myself a worry time where I can worry. So those are some great things to think about. The next thing he asks is, does this belong in my mind? So question yourself and the actions of your mind to simply heighten your awareness and to change and improve your mental and emotional state. And here he says, in the comfort of your own home, surrounded by your own personal possessions, see yourself sat comfortably watching the content of your mind on your own television screen. As you observe yourself sitting and watching the screen in your home, imagine the walls of your living room decorated with the words used in the self talk you engage in, or the panic, worry, or negative chatter written clearly on the walls of the living room of your home. What would you see and be watching? What would you read from the words that flow through your mind? What would others experience if they stepped into the living room of your mind? Just take a few moments to reflect on this scenario where your inner world is wallpapered in the words and conversations that fill your mind. Wow, I would say that to me when I reread it was just chilling because sometimes your deepest critical self, these could be thoughts of insecurity, these could be thoughts of everything that you may think is going wrong in your life, everything that, maybe your goals are not being met. Imagine all of that in kind of written all over your walls, all the words. It would be overwhelming, right? It would be like something physically staring at you and telling you to do better. That's exactly the place that your mind ends up being at when you let it spiral and when you let it kind of overwhelm you. So to kind of go back to his digital coping strategies that he talked about when things like this happen, He says, think about what belongs in the trash. So taking some of those things that you saw on the wall and putting it in a garbage bag. Um, then he says, what sounds need muting? So maybe taking some of those other words that you see on the wall and mute them. Maybe you can put an X to some of them. So closing some of those tabs. And what scenes you need to escape from. So pressing the ESC button on some of these tabs. And the last bit of his chapter is talking about clearing your internal hard drive. So in this, he says our internal hard drive is built with a lot of memories, a lot of just in general, the content of the head can be filled with things like family, friends, and in some strange ways, some company that you may carry. And these characters, these personal grudges, these past pains, when you edit them and update them, can suddenly leave you with a wide open space within the home of your mind. So he's saying, then what? So, how do we clear this and start with new memories? So, one of the things he says is imagine right now, um, if you can, how light your arms would feel from putting down two 1.5-liter bottles of water that you've held on to and carried around for 20 years. Imagine how much lighter your back and shoulders would feel if you took off a rucksack of heavy stones that you carried around with you each and every day. Imagine right now how much lighter your mind would feel if everything that troubled you and all that consumed you was suddenly out of sight. You wouldn't carry anything in your arms or on your back for a whole single day. So I think this is what clearing your internal hard drive is really letting go of a lot of things that you've been carrying on your shoulders. Maybe it's grief, maybe it's pain, maybe it's any type of trauma. And I think it's easier said than done. For some, there's a lot of work that would require you to let go of some of that. And obviously, that's something that you can decide is what's best for you and how best to carry on and best to do that. But I think clearing what Cameron is saying about clearing your internal hard drive, it is an important step to recovery. It is an important step to stop overthinking and starting to have more control over your life. Thank you for listening, and I will be back next week with Chapter 7. Have a great day.